Hi everyone and welcome to a Theme Park Worldwide News Update. Now on the 31st of December 2020, the London Resort submitted their planning application to the UK government. That is an absolutely fantastic step forward for this brand new theme park resort, which is set to be built in Kent. Now we first heard about this project about 8 years ago, back in 2012. I remember thinking then it would be absolutely fantastic if it was going to get built. It was actually known back then as the London Paramount Resort, and then over the years things kind of went quiet and not a lot really happened with it going forwards. So to actually be here now, just a few days ago, they've actually put in this planning application is a fantastic step forward. Of course, a lot has changed since their initial plans back in 2012. However, to be sitting here now in 2021, knowing that a few days ago this application went into place is a fantastic step forward for this project. Now, before I move on to talking about some new concept art that we've got and having a bit of a zoom in and having a look at what we can see, just thought I'd mention how last year I was really skeptical about this project still, and to this day I still am skeptical about it. There's some concerns that I've got that I'll mention a little bit later in the video. However, it's certainly great to see that this planning application has been put forward. Last year they actually did some public consultations. They were done online, and you know what, it was great to see that they did them web seminars basically to sort of tell everybody about what the plans were and go into detail about some of the aspects of this project. To actually be sitting here now knowing that that application's gone in, I'm feeling a lot more positive, the fact that this is moving forward. Now, one of my main concerns about the project though is the finances behind it, and that's one reason why I'm still not too sure if it's going to go ahead. Where's the funding coming from? I would love to know. Of course, there must be some funding there to be able to have put all these applications together. It's thousands and thousands of pages have gone into this document that's been submitted a few days ago to the UK government, which is great. But I also like to be realistic about things as well. And I'd love to know a breakdown of exactly who the investors are and where the funding's coming from for this new theme park resort, known as the London Resort, which is set to be built in Kent. Of course, it's going to be easy accessible to everybody from around London, from the rest of the UK, and the plan is as well to actually bring people over, tourists from abroad who want to come and experience it. So from mainland Europe, people coming over from the States, it'd be fantastic to see something like this open in the United Kingdom, and also a way to sort of show that the UK is a place for tourism and entertainment, and that sector really needs a boost, especially after everything that happened with the virus last year and of course continuing into this year. It'd be really nice to see them pull this off if they could do. Now, just going to recap a couple of things for those of you that don't know much about this project. The London Resort, like I said, this has been spoke about for about 8 years now. However, phase 1 is now expected to open in 2024. That phase will include the initial theme park, and of course a lot of the infrastructure to open this resort will go into place, and also as well some of the accommodation and other aspects that will make up the London Resort. By 2029, they're kind of hoping to have the phase 2 of the project open by then. That'll be a second theme park, more accommodation. By then they're expecting to have a water park, conference facilities, entertainment, numerous hotels, up to 3,500 bedrooms on site, which is a huge amount, isn't it? And this is a massive project for tourism for the UK. Up to 6,000 construction jobs during the build of this. 8,700 employees are expected to be working there by 2024. And if the expansions all went ahead, by 2038, up to 17,000 people could be employed by the London Resort. Brilliant for tourism, brilliant for the economy, and a big boost, which would be fantastic. So as much as I'm still skeptical about the project, it's really nice to see the plan application gone in, and we should soon get to see some more details from that. I'm hoping in the next weeks, maybe a couple of months, we'll see the actual details of that so we can get an idea on the sizes of things. We've got some great new concept art that I'm going to show you, and over the years there's been some fantastic concept art released. However, I like to know the dimensions of things, and that's all to come. You know, I want to know the exact details, how big buildings are going to be, what sort of length and inversions we're going to see on these different rides, just that sort of thing to give us a bit more information about it. it. But you know what? This brand new application that has gone in is a real step forward for them. I look forward to following the project. There's part of me now that thinks that this actually could happen. For the past 6 or 7 years, I've been thinking no chance of this happening. At first, I was quite positive. Then as nothing's happened, it's just been a roller coaster of emotion with this project. So it's really nice to think that they've moved forward, and we've also got some new concept art to show for it as well. So 2021 is looking great for this project so far. Let's have a look at this concept art. So here we go. Wow, look at that. A nice overview there of this new theme park resort in Kent. And as you can see, this does show a lot of the details from what we can expect from the layout. However, you know, you've still got to think this is concept art. This isn't the exact ride layout. It's not the exact rides that we're going to be seeing here. This is just an overview of kind of what they want to do. Something that they have stuck to ever since the start pretty much is the themes that they want to go with this whole project. 6 different themed areas, I believe, inside the first park, that is. And, you know, they've stuck with these same sort of ideas for themed areas, like a jungle area, sci-fi, a movie studios. That's always been the same over the past sort of 8 years. So that gives me some hope that what does actually get built in the end, if it does, fingers crossed, it will be done of some standards, a really good quality, because, of course, it's been the pipeline vision all the way along to actually do these themed areas. So fingers crossed. But from looking at that concept art, so much going on, I'm going to break it down now into 7 different zoomed in images. So I've spent some time sort of analysing this and zooming in on sections. So let's start off here by having a little look at this, shall we? So the first image there is the main entrance that you can see. Of course, a very big, grand entrance for what is going to attract millions and millions of people a year if it does get built. You can see like the transportation and arrival area, some sort of big modern structure in place there as well. What you can also see is like an arena. I think from reading into it more, that's going to be like a sports arena there. There's also a water park that you can see fully covered over from the webinars that they were doing. I believe that's going to be a fully enclosed water park, and also a hotel that's attached to it. That's the first time we've actually seen a hotel attached to a water park. We've seen it in the concept art before, both hotels and of course the water park, but never joined together. So that looks quite interesting. Seems they've made a decision about that. Like I say though, this is still just concept art. That might be the vision, but it might not actually come to fruition. That's why we need to see the actual planning application documents to know the details. Let's move on then here to a second image. As you can see at the top left, we've got the ferry terminals and arrival area. There's also a space for cargo to be delivered. A lot of the work, what's going to be done here, a lot of the materials are actually going to be travelling down the Thames to get to the site in Kent, which is quite interesting. You can see what looks to be 2 hotels there. One big square hotel, another one with a bit of a funky shape to it. I believe the square hotel, that's the one that they were hoping to open for 2024 from what I remember from the webinars. So that would probably be one of the early hotels to be built as part of the project. You've also got the Colosseum, which is a circular building there, Colosseum venue. That looks like it's going to be some sort of theatre possibly, live events, that sort of thing, kind of outside of the theme park, but as a part of the resort. You've got to think with this, they kind of be going down the Disney and Universal routes and having like an entertainment district, what won't be behind gates, if you know what I mean. You'd be able to probably enter that for free, I'd imagine, and then go and pay separately for shows and cinemas and all sorts of things like that, I'd imagine would be the case. And then of course you pay to get into the park separately. But again, that's just what I'm thinking from everything that we know so far about the London resort. Also, you can see the first themed area of the park that I'm going to talk about, the Spaceport themed area, like a sci-fi futuristic area. You can see there's like a circular building, at least a couple of coasters there, potentially some sort of transportation ride, maybe a monorail running around the outside of that building from looking at the zoom in. But yeah, Spaceport, that's an area what's been in the pipeline for years for this park now. So hopefully this would be a really nice modern futuristic area, and it looks like it'd be the first area that you enter when you walk into the London resort as well. Let's move on to this third image then here. You can see what looks to be clearly the kingdom themed area, because you've got the castle there, a bit of a fairy tale castle, what it looks to be going in. We've seen close-up concept art of that previously. There's been so many concept renderings for this theme park resort since 2012. But you know, every time they seem to have developed more and more, and they've also become more realistic. So that is another positive thing to take from this. And this latest concept art is pretty realistic, and also saying that they want the first first part for 2024, the second part not until 2029. That's a good gap in between, and I would say quite realistic as well with that one. Along with that as well, you can see what looks to be at least 3 coasters in that themed area. Is that a wooden coaster potentially there at the left hand side? It looks like it could be to me from how they've done the drawings and the concepts for that. Again, things are subject to change. I am just analysing the concept art, but yeah, that does look like it could be a wooden coaster. If not, there's at least 3 different coasters there that we can see in that area. Let's move on then to this 4th image just here. This looks to be the jungle and the Isles themed areas kind of next to each other there. Again, it looks to be 3 coasters, definitely some sort of flume ride, maybe a log flume or something a bit bigger like a shoot the chute ride up there at the back. It's definitely got drops and it looks like it's a heavily themed ride, and that's the thing that I'm really hoping from this whole park. We've got some fantastic roller coasters in this country, but what we don't really have is heavily themed experiences. Yes, over the past few years, rides like Wicker Man and the Swarm have had some fantastic theming involved in them, but we're still a long way away from a lot of these European theme parks, and especially Disney and Universal, what do things on another scale, another level that I'd love to see come to the London resorts. It's certainly looking quite promising for the theming, especially when you zoom in and look at some of these rides. Let's move on then to another image just here. Now this is quite an interesting one that we can see here in the 5th image. Seems like some sort of worldwide area. You've got like the Great Wall of China there on the left. Is that the Leaning Tower of Pisa? The Taj Mahal, the Golden Gate Bridge sort of crossing over in the middle. Again, it's very vague, but I've never really seen this in any of the concept art before. So could this be an additional area? Could it be an extension of another area of the park? Maybe it's part of the studios theme section. I'm not too sure, but this looks very interesting. Looks like it's going to be towards the right hand side of the park if the concept art is quite realistic to the layout, what we're going to be expecting from the application. But yeah, look, that looks really interesting. Again, I really want to know your thoughts on this as well. Get your comments coming in down below. What do you think we're going to see ride wise from looking at the concept art? Are you starting to believe in the project more? I know a lot of people have kind of laughed at this theme park in the past few years, and I'll be honest, I have too. There's been moments where I've thought this is just not going to happen, but I'm really starting to come around to the idea now this application's gone in that they do mean business, they are serious, and I'm really hoping so for jobs and the economy, especially in the entertainment sector, which it really needs. All them contractors and builders that will be brought in to build this complex, it could be fantastic for the economy here in the UK, something that we really need. But yeah, just thought with that again, really interesting, like a worldwide themed area that you can see. Move on then to this 6th image just here. Seems to be like a studios themed area there. There's a big water tower, potentially 4 coasters I can see there from looking at the layouts, 4 different coloured tracks anyway. Potentially 3 large dark ride buildings there with like movie posters on the side. You've got to bear in mind that as much as Paramount isn't going to be the name of this anymore, it's believed the park are still bringing in some Paramount IPs into the park. Along with that, the BBC and ITV are supposed to be involved as well. So who knows what we're going to see, but could be some fantastic themed rides and themed areas coming into that studios section especially. But yeah, it looks quite interesting. We could be seeing over 10 coasters in this park, and this is just theme park number 1, so that is certainly really exciting. Theme park number 2, you can see there's a couple of coasters from looking at it, but you know, you can clearly see that the second park is just kind of marked out there as where they want it. I wouldn't take that as anything to go by. This first park is where the focus is, and as it should be at the moment. They don't want to look too far ahead. It's important to have an area of expansion marked out, but I'm sure they're not planning the layout of the second park yet, or they might have an initial idea, but the first park is the focus, and there's certainly a lot more detail on the concept art off to the right hand side where this first theme park opening in 2024 would be. Let's have a look at this final image just here. That definitely looks like it's going to be the woods themed area. Potentially a coaster there as well, a smaller coaster maybe as well, a junior coaster in there. Lots of flat rides. Then I can see like a teacups, a merry-go-round, potentially, you know, like a rocking tug in there I can see. You know, there's a lot of smaller flat rides, but it's quite blurry. This was quite a high quality concept art when it zoomed out, but when you start zooming in, the quality does start to go a little bit. But you do get a good idea on what we can expect from the London resort. Potentially a big dark ride at the back of the woods themed area there. who knows? But it does look like we're going to see a lot of theming and maybe a bit of a medieval theme going on with that as well. So there we go. There are all the different zoomed in images that I've got from it. A lot of new information really there from the London resort. And what's fantastic to see is the fact that now this application's gone in, they've released this concept art with even more detail. So yeah, I'm quite positive for this now. I'm still very skeptical on the project. However, I believe in it a lot more now than I did this time last year or 2 or 3 years ago. So, you know, I'm at a point now where I'm starting to think this could actually happen. If it does, it will be amazing for the theme park industry. Can you imagine the other parks competing, especially down south, you know, the parks that are very close to this, Adventure Island, Thorpe Park, Legoland, they're all going to really have to step up the game, and it'll be really interesting to see if Merlin Entertainments, of course, who own a lot of the theme parks here in the UK, start to make a lot of other investments at their parks just in case this does get built, because this will be a game changer for the UK, especially if they're getting some big brands involved. A lot of people like movies and lots of different TV series that could be incorporated into this park. This could be big. It could be the biggest thing to ever happen in the UK theme park industry. As soon as we get some more information, I'll be keeping you guys up to date. Like I said, I've been a bit skeptical on it. However, now the application's gone in, I'm believing it a lot more, and I really feel like it's kind of one of my duties in a way, being the theme park channel that we are here in the UK, to really start to cover this a lot more now, because I've got a feeling that over the next few months there's going to be a lot more information coming out about this, and I can't wait to share it with you all. So there we go. Thank you very much for joining me for this video all about the London resort. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on, is the park going to open 2024? Is it going to get scaled back? You know, could we be seeing this blowing up and it being absolutely huge? You know, could it be even bigger than what we're expecting? I really want to know your thoughts, so let me know in the video comments. I always really enjoy reading exactly what you guys think. So there we go. Thanks for joining me for another news update here on Theme Park Worldwide. Stay tuned to us for lots of new videos. We've just started a brand new series, The Future Of. First one of those came online yesterday. That was all about the future of Alton Towers, but there's going to be a lot more predictions, videos coming up in the next few weeks. Along with that as well, lots of other fantastic top 10 countdowns are going to be making their way to the channel, along with our Remembering series making a return, and so much more. So stay tuned for all of that here on Theme Park Worldwide. Happy 2021, everybody. And that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.